Okay, well, that's, I'm not a programmer, so I would be one of the last people to tell you about programming nitty gritty because I butt heads with programmers all the time. They can't stand me. I don't think logically. I don't think modularly. It's a wonder we haven't killed each other at the end of each product. But you got to be smart. There's a lot of great programmers out there. I mean, unlike design, I don't think you need to necessarily get a degree for design. Coding, you got to be great. You've got to write clean code. You've got to write fast code. You've got to also know games. I've worked with programmers who have been really good programmers, but they're not gamers, and that's fine. They can get by. But the best programmers are the ones who are not only great programmers, but they also play games. So when you go to them with an idea for a really interesting, whether it's good or bad mechanic, it's not like you're just going to somebody and saying, here, build this. They actually understand what you're going for, and then they can offer their own ideas to make it better, make it run faster, and things like that. But the main thing with coding is, I mean, you got to just be good. The competition is really fierce, and if I've worked with some of the best programmers in the world at this point, considering the Santa Monica God of War team is amazing, the guys in Utah are amazing, and when I see them compared to some other development houses, it's like, okay, these guys are amazing. So I mean, it's a terrible answer because I don't know anything about specifics of programming except that I know when I work with programmers who are great, it makes me look better, and so I'm always bitching, going, "We got to get the best programmers we can afford." That's a bad answer. I'm sorry, but I'm not a coder.
Oh, Access is actually very pleased with your answer, and he says he appreciates it. We have time for just one really quick question, actually. Xylo Freak is curious to hear the scoop or hint on any project that you're working on right now for the future. Can you tell us anything?
I can't. I wish. It's not that I don't want to. I'm dying to talk about our new game, but it's Sony's property. We don't own it. We're work for hire. We've designed it and we've concept arted it, and we're making it, but it's not our game. And so they'll announce it, when they want to announce it. So I can't.
All
All
right.
right. Well,
Cool. Not a problem. I have a couple more questions really quick before we let you go. And
Okay.
these circle around the journalists because you've been
Okay.
very, very vocal about journalism and your thoughts on game journalism. So my question is actually for the journalists, hoping we can better ourselves and others out there. What would you say is the main downfall right now in game journalism, and how would you want to help them out a little bit?
Well, I think the thing that bothers me the most, there's two things that bother me the most about game journalism right now. Um, the first one is the rampant hyperbole uh, that you see mainly on websites, and I've seen it on small sites, and I've seen it on big sites. And I talk to Brian sometimes at Kotaku. I love that site. I have a growing relationship with the guys at G4. I really like those guys. But these are two really big sites that have just taken shit I've said and totally, you know, done headlines out of context. They've written the story out of context. Sometimes they've had just entirely false information. And so, uh, yeah, it's the internet. I mean, you have to kind of figure out when you want to take a stand on that stuff because ultimately, does it really matter? Not really. It's all kind of stupid. It's just video games. I mean, it's not like we're talking about, the stimulus plan or anything. But at the same time, though, there comes a point when you start seeing people, bashing you personally for things that you never really said or never really meant. In the way that they think you meant it, that you do want to take a stand. So I think part of it is, look, I appreciate they have to get hits. I appreciate sensationalistic headlines get hits more than just sort of the facts. But I think that's disrespectful and problematic. And then I think the other thing about journalism that bothers me is journalists are so fucking quick to hand out. Just again, it goes back to hyperbole. It's almost like a lot of these guys and girls. I don't know. Did they not go to journalism school? Did they not go to school at all? It's like they will just come all over, a lot of these games that end up, it's like, it's the best game ever. Oh my God, oh my God. Oh my. It's like they sound like a fucking bunch of baby idiots. And it's like, would you grow up and respect yourself and respect your job and your profession and stop acting like everything that the PR department has told you is the next big thing is actually the next big thing, and look at it with a critical eye. That doesn't mean don't be a fan. That doesn't mean don't love a game and champion a game. That's awesome. But if you look at all the think about this. If you go to Rotten Tomatoes and look at the movies that get Best Picture of the Year have an aggregate score of like 92, 89, 94, whatever. Video games, it's like, a good third of them are like 10s across the board all the fucking time. And so I think they do a disservice to the gamer and to their customer, and I think they do a disservice to themselves and their publications by just getting caught up in this hype. And then when you call them on it, they always come back with like, well, we're fans and we get up excited. It's like, your fucking job is not to be a fan. You get paid. Your job is to be a journalist and respect your audience. In the same way, I have to make sure my mechanics aren't sucky or my game levels don't get boring, and I do the best I can. I don't always succeed. But in the same way I do that as a professional, they as a professional need to sort of put their fanboyism aside and actually, create good stories and good journalism that isn't full of hyperbole. So those are my two things.
And honestly, I couldn't agree with you more. I'm nodding the entire time that I'm hearing this. And I'm a journalist, so I completely agree with you, and I hope that we here at LAGtv don't do that. Finally, my last question for you is, will there ever come a point, in your opinion, do you think that there'll ever be a time when there's no longer any need for boxed games, where everything is just downloadable?
Absolutely. I had one of the guys from One Up write me this morning, and he was like, because he just, I think it was, is it Patrick Klepek? Do you guys know? He just written a story where I can never pronounce her. Susan Norai was her name. I used to know her really well. And now she's the head of PlayStation Network. I think her new name is Susan Panico. But anyway, they interviewed her about, PlayStation and how there's this very understandable and important dance that Sony does and all the game developer publishers do with retailers, because obviously, look, that's where you buy the hardware and that's where you buy a lot of the software, and you can't really ruffle their feathers too much. And that's a whole nother thing, the whole used game thing and rentals and whatever. But the point is that yes, ultimately, sooner than later, that will happen. And people talk about, well, I want to own the physical game, and I appreciate that. But the reality is, people said that about their music, people said that about books, and now the e-readers are beginning to catch on. Newspapers are falling, but internet readership of news is going up. I definitely think you'll see that with games. I think the biggest issue that's stopping it isn't even broadband speed. It's an issue of building an infrastructure in both the hardware as well as the software that allows the game to be downloaded, kind of like some of the PC games do, and you can begin to play it within, you buffer it, so you can begin to play it within the first 5 to 10 minutes. That way you don't have the hard drive issue of suddenly you can only store 3 or 4 full retail size games. But absolutely that's coming. I don't have any insider information. All I know is what I read on the net about the PSP2. It sounds like the PSP2 is doing just what the iPhone's doing, that it's going to go totally digital. And I think it's about time, and I can't wait for it to happen.
That will be very cool.
Yes.
I will be very excited if that happens.
And thank you very much. So wait, real quick though, can you confirm that there's going to be a PSP2?
Again, okay, I'm not being a jerk. Okay, I'm not. I don't know you, but it's late and I'm a little sick. Did I not, this goes back to Becky's question about journalism. Did I not just fucking say about the hyperbole? Did I not just say to you
No,
that
you totally did.
Insider information,
But
that I know nothing about the PSP2 except what I read on the internet? I just fucking said that.
in my defense, though, you mentioned it sounded like you were assured and you have inside information from Sony. I was just...
Whoa, I just said I don't have inside information.
Okay.
I just said I don't.
Well, and for that I apologize, also for implying that you're working on Twisted Metal 3.
No, you can apply. That was just you trying to kind of slip one in. I'm used to that. That's you do your job, man. Your job is to get information. But it goes right to the fucking heart of it, dude. It goes right to the fucking heart of it. That shit pisses me off.
Well, I honestly, I can speak for myself and plenty of the people out there watching us when we cannot wait to erupt all over whichever next game comes out of Eat, Sleep, Play.
Well,
David,
listen, I'll tell you what, when we are ready to announce it, I would be honored to come back on your show and give you guys a demo and all that. I would be grateful if you'd have me back.
We would be grateful if you would come back, sir. But David Jaffe, thank you so much. I know you're not feeling well. I do hope you feel better.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Sure. And for those of you who are watching, please stick with us. There's much, much more coming up on LAGtv.
Bye, guys.
Bye.